ladies and gentlemen, filmmakers and moviegoers alike, welcome to this week's episode of Critically Casual, where for the first time in a long time, we have DorkyDev on camera. Oh, other way, Dev. Oh, God.
Sorry, gotta readjust a lot of the setup.
Yeah, you got really excited.
As we were working on the call. Put it up, it worked. It's back!
Congratulations, my friend. All right, and now the tweet's out too. Okay, that took a moment. Welcome, everybody, to this joyous moment as we have our good buddy DorkyDev back on live camera.
I'll be honest, I nearly cried.
Yeah, I saw it in your eyes. You're like, yes! All right. Do you have anything?
I'm back.
Which microphone are you going through? Do you have to?
I'm not going to the right one.
No. Wait. Okay. I can. Your camera's moving now, but there's just a little bit of an echo.
Okay, I haven't messed with the settings on it yet. Hold on.
All right, that's fine. We can figure that stuff out in a little bit as we're going through this. But welcome back to the realm of actually being able to do stuff.
Yep. There's hold on. There's a lot of fans on in the room right now, so there's gonna be one in the background. Sorry, was not prepped for this to actually work suddenly.
But it did. And we're here, and we're talking about, let's see. Well, this week, I couldn't think of any clever names to call this, so it's just Guillermo del Toro week.
Yeah. Good week.
Yeah. I mean, even though it's kind of a technicality, because Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is not directed by Guillermo del Toro, so.
You can tell his influence is there.
You're not wrong. So... First movie we're talking about is the Pan's Labyrinth, of course, followed by Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Sweet.
It's weird. I keep hearing a minor echo of myself.
Oh, you know what? It might be one of my settings. Hold on.
Okay. It's just like a minor... Sometimes it's an echo, sometimes it's just like the first syllable of what I'm saying.
My output is what I'm saying, right?
That's input. Output is what it's going into.
Okay. How does it start talking?
Okay, hi. Huh?
That's probably better.
That is better.
Sorry, I had to go in the broadcast. I had the Go XLR going through. My bad.
All right, man.
I'm back!
I could tell.
Oh my God! There's so many things to fix and get back into like working order, but it's back.
All right, this would be a terrible time to have to talk about movies when you're this excited about a computer being set up.
Hey, dude. We're time to talk about movies.
All right.
Oh my God.
So let's get in here and let's start talking about our first movie for today, which is a poorly spelled. I misspelled Pan's Labyrinth in all of the slides, by the way. But Pan's Labyrinth.
Wouldn't expect any less, Steven.
Yeah. I like mine better. It looks cooler.
Labyrinth.
Labyrinth. Yeah, I don't know. The spelling was right in front of me too. I just didn't even look at it. I don't know what happened. But yeah. Anyway, this week, movie 1, Pan's Labyrinth. So, biggest complaint wasn't in English.
Oh, boo-hoo. I will say, I think this is the first time we've watched a film that wasn't in English.
Yeah.
No, Bleach. Forgot about Bleach.
We also watched Batman Ninja.
Oh, no, but didn't we watch the dubbed version of it though?
I don't remember English in that, but
no, we watched the dub because of who Joker was. I remembered.
Okay.
We talked about that.
Okay.
They had the one of the guys from. Let me double check it. Batman. I know who it is. I just can't remember what he's in. Sorry.
It's okay.
Batman Ninja. IMDb. Weird side tangent to start us off.
Yeah, no worry. It happens all the time.
Yeah, because they had Red Robin as Will Freddy. Who did they have as Joker? Right, Tony Hale. Tony Hale.
Tony Hale. Okay.
Tony Hale, who was in Arrested Development and V. He's kind of got like receding hairline. He played Joker in that. We commented on that. I was like, I didn't expect Tony Hale to be a decent Joker.
Oh yeah. Okay, I remember that now. Now I remember. Okay. Silly me. All right, but so we have this movie, Pan's Labyrinth. I actually, like always, what's to go wrong here? It's just a good movie.
No, yeah, and did you watch it on Amazon?
Through my free Star subscription.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Did you watch it on Amazon? Yeah, we can see Dev Pog. I'm back! I'm alive!
Look at those giant happy eyes from both you and her.
Dude, you have no idea how happy I am. Like, this literally, the fact that this happened during the pre-show, like, we were trying to figure out what was going on. It wouldn't boot up. The drivers weren't working for my Ethernet cable, and I tried one last time. And suddenly I'm like, hold on, wait to start, Steven! I sent him in Discord. Wait! Just for a second.
And then it worked.
It did. I didn't even change shirts because I wasn't sure I would be on the screen itself. I was honestly, if I couldn't get it to work while we were sitting here, I was going to go back to the kitchen and continue making stuff for kebabs tomorrow. And you would just hear me chopping stuff.
That would be funny. Yeah, that's fine. That'd be a good podcast. Nice minor ASMR in our...
Though I will say, my computer is completely exposed. There's no shielding on it because I didn't expect it to work, so... I'm as real as people want me to be. Holy shit, I'm back.
Welcome back.
I need to make sure the buttons are
Which is a good thing, because this week I can't host Har Har podcast, so it's all you.
Yep.
So, all right, back on topic. Let's talk Pan's Labyrinth. So,
yes.
All in all, one of my favorite things is I have to say I enjoyed the ending. I really liked how this movie ended. It felt good.
Yes. And it's ambiguous.
Exactly, which is nice. I loved the practical effects, which was really, really cool. Yes.
Yes.
Pet purr.
I'm sorry, dude. It's good to have it back.
It's okay. No one on stream can see it, but I saw it.
Yeah, it's just enough out of screen that when I pet the front of it, it was just very ambiguous. No, this movie was just it's no surprise. When you watch it on Amazon, you get the X-ray thing, and I love X-ray on Amazon. I gotta say that's one of the best things they do about their video service. Mm-hmm. There are some things that they are awful about on their video service. No joke. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of issues. If you're watching a series on there, there's some issues. Like if you're watching on the app, on like the Vizio app, skipping through, or on the Roku app, skipping through the beginning is annoying as shit when you're trying to skip through the previously on the last episode of Game of Thrones. Fucking hell, you might as well just go through and watch each episode of Game of Thrones for like 5 minutes through, like real quick, just like skip through it, so you don't have to worry about it. But X-Ray, on the other hand, is one of the best things they do. And one of the first things they talk about is at the end of this movie, with the first showing it had 22 minutes of applause.
22 minutes?
22 minutes of applause. Christ. And it's earned.
Well, yes. But Jesus Christ. Like, don't get me wrong, this movie is definitely one of the favorites that we've watched on this channel for me, because it's dramatic, it's intense, it's very well shot, it's, well, I mean, I could just say words.
Practical effects?
Yes. It's just good, man. I enjoy... And it's weird, because there's always a bit of tone when it comes to stuff made by Guillermo del Toro. And it's all nice. I swooned over this man and his directing and writing, and goddamn.
and we'll talk about more in the next film. His ability to teach others his style too. Mm-hmm. Just like he's got such a unique look to how his films look. We talked about it with Hellboy 1 as well.
Well, yeah, he's worked. We worked. Yeah, worked.
Is this button still working?
Sorry.
Fuck you. It works.
Yeah, sorry, I looked away. Just talking at me from the other side of the door.
From the other side of the veil. But like, like we talked about with Hellboy 1 as well, because we compared Hellboy to Hellboy. Like, guys said we should. And we talked about the fact that like Guillermo del Toro has this sense of just like creating a world that just feels real. Like it's lived in, and that it's like these things you could touch them. And Pan's Labyrinth is where that started. In all honesty, he's done other. I'm pretty sure he did stuff before it, but this is when it was noticed. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like, and damn, does it deserve it?
Like, it's interesting to think of this movie ultimately, because, like, when you think of this film, how do you think it like? What do you think the dynamic is in this movie? Like, what's it trying to do?
It's trying to tell a coming-of-age story in a very unique manner.
Okay.
That's how I would describe it.
That's a good way to describe it, I'd say. It's definitely an interesting look at what could happen. But I don't know. People have argued many different things. Like, some people would argue it's a story of duality and good versus evil. But
that's in there too. I think the thing is there's a lot of themes in it.
It's just it's weird because this movie like has a lot of depth to it.
Yes.
Where it describes things like good versus evil and like innocence and like striving for better lives and like all of these weird different stories through different lenses, both in a like fantasy aspect and in a realistic aspect. Like, it was all extremely interesting to watch, and especially, I mean, I also just like fantasy stuff too, and this is
this is your alley, 100%.
Like, I would watch a whole like Lord of the Rings of Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah,
be nice.
I mean, and the thing is, like, and I'm a sucker for practical effects. We all know this. I've talked about it every time that someone does something practical. I gush about it. It's one thing I appreciate about Marvel is they do a lot of practical with what they do. People are like, oh, they're just big CGI fuckbets. Look behind the scenes and you see most of the CGI is just really the backdrop and like a couple of the characters. Sorry, you're wrong. And like After Effects that are needed, like thrusters and stuff like that, depending on the character. Like, yeah, those are going to be CGI. But like every time you see those shots where they're all in the same picture, that's a real shot. And this is just like take away the CGI for the most part, and this is all practical. The only stuff that's like CGI is like a couple of like the creatures that you see that are too small.
Yeah, there are a couple moments when you could see the CGI, like the beetles and stuff that happens. Those the pixies are definitely CGI. Like, if it's small and moves fast, it's probably fake.
Yeah, because those are harder to do. Unless you're fucking BB-8 and LucasArts and you're like, let's make a little droid that rolls.
Yeah, and then it doesn't matter because it just rolls over everything.
But no, I mean, it's just... It had such a surreal look.
Go ahead.
An unreal look to some of it, but so realistic that you know it's there. It's a perfect balance of fantasy and live action, like fantastic ideas portrayed into real life. I guess is how I'll put it.
Okay, that's a good way to put it. I'm not gonna argue with that by any means. So, I don't really know entirely what else we want to talk about when it comes to this film, other than just say watch it if you haven't.
Do you? I have one question. I don't know if this is huge spoiler territory.
Okay, we'll see.
The end.
Okay.
Do you feel that it was that things were real or not?
See, that is tough because I would like to think that it's real. Only because, that's the kind of fanboy that I am. But
That childhood wonderment you want?
yeah, exactly. Like, everyone wants to be a superhero. Fuck that. I want to be a motherfucking wizard.
Why not both?
A super wizard, Doctor Strange.
A sorcerer supreme, if you will.
Dr. Stephen Laughlin, Sorcerer Supreme.
We need to stop.
Took a look at Labyrinth and said, how can I make something look more elaborate than this? I wouldn't also agree. Like, it's just, you could tell that there was a lot of care taken in this movie. Be it just where the camera's placed, or just the subtle lyrics or words that are being said. And, like, how, like, there's some simple, like, cliche stuff in there, like Chekhov's gun, but in this case it's Chekhov's file. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted, Dev, from your question. But, like, sure. I guess he could say he wanted a more elaborate movie than that. But as for your question, I kind of just like how it was left ambiguous as it was, because it's just some movies are set up to leave that kind of ending, and this movie set that up. Like, it's just sad at the same time,
That's fair. And you know what? I'll agree. I'm not going to argue on that. My opinion was very similar, that I feel that it's left ambiguous for us to ask the question.
Yeah, it's like,
So,
it's for us to ask the question and discover the point. Like, the point of this movie wasn't to give us the answers to anything at all. It was to ask the question and then have us ask questions as well. And, like, it wanted to provoke thought into some complex things. And I'd say it did. I mean, especially if it got 22 minutes of applause.
yeah, dude, like 22 minutes of applause. The only other film that I think could ever pull that off is Endgame. There's a good chance that film had close to that, let's be honest, since opening night.
Oh, that'd be ridiculous. Woo, yeah! And you're just clapping at a black screen at that point, like nothing's happening. You're like, yeah, I love this movie. Yeah. I mean, sure, at the screening, he probably walks out on stage and is like, thank you, and people applaud. But
yeah,
still, I'm just imagining nobody's there and they're all just, yeah, yay, I love black screen, yeah.
But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this film. I forgot how good this film was, honestly. It's been a long time since I've seen it, so.
I'll be honest, every time I watch a movie with something creepy in it, like, there are creepy moments in this film for sure. I keep wanting to do, like, Instagram videos of, like, horror in real life. Because both this movie and the next movie had scenes where I would have just noped out right away.
Yeah. Next film especially, let's be honest.
Yeah.
We get there. But I'm going to hit you with a hard-hitting question on the next one.
Okay.
From the get-go.
All right. I'm looking forward to that, because this next one I actually do want to talk about a bit, because I'm a little perplexed on it. So.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. So, we have nothing else to say about Pan's Labyrinth?
If you haven't seen it, watch it. Mm-hmm. Even though it's subtitled, watch it.
Yeah.
Suck it up and watch it. I don't care. Oh, it's got subtitles. I don't want to read as I watch. You're the reason why people, like, you're gonna be left behind when anime and films like this take over. All right, just saying that now. That, or just learn a second language so you don't have to watch it with subtitles.
Uh,
I wish I knew a second.
I was about to say you talk like not a hypocrite right now.
I at least watched the subtitled version.
All right, I'm not gonna get into that. I'm sorry.
You know what? You.
All right, I'll take the B. You're just having fun now. It's just like you got the new toys all over again.
Except everything's back.
Yeah. All right, we're moving. Oh wait, hang on. So Dev, I'm giving you 10 popcorn kernels.
Yep. I was gonna say, where are my popcorns, bro? All right. Honestly, I want to give it a 10
Okay.
because I don't have a reason not to. At least personally.
But
You know what I mean?
my guess is that. Oh, hey, look. Someone's excited for you in chat.
I know. I saw it. It worked. It booted up. So I'll explain later what happened. I've already explained it a couple times. Or watch back this video from the beginning, and you'll understand what happened and how I came back.
Yes.
So I want to give Pan's Labyrinth the perfect 10, right?
Okay.
But there's something in my brain that says it's like a 9.5 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like not quite the perfect 10, but at the same time, it's still like I want to give it a perfect 10. You know what I mean? Because I feel like it earns it with everything it does.
Mm-hmm.
It's a confusing place for me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it a 10.
Okay.
Because I have like there's no argument for me not to. Like I don't have any critical points for me to dock it points. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, so a perfect 10. I get you. Maybe a 10 with an asterisk next to it.
for some reason my brain wants to not give it that, but it's like, why wouldn't I give it that? Because there's nothing that says not to. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. When I think about this movie, I kind of think of the same thing because this is a good movie. I would gladly watch it over and over and over again because the mood and the feel of the movie is great, at least for me. But like I could also see how some people don't like this movie 100%. Like there's just something about this film that's off-putting, and it's not the fact that it's a movie without David Bowie, but like I get the point. I get what you're saying. It's just part of it is off-putting for some reason. Well, not necessarily off-putting, but it doesn't quite ring true. It's not quite like all of the other movies that we watch that are like, Black Panther or Into the Spider-Verse or Avengers Endgame, or like they're not nearly as exciting, this movie.
I guess that might be part of it. Like there's certain movies there are some films that like we gave like even like How to Train Your Dragon and stuff like that we gave 10s.
Mm-hmm.
But like and I'm fine with feeling uncomfortable in an off-putting way. Like that's not what I would dock it on. It's more that like it just feels like there's something not quite there almost. But I think that's part of its beauty. You know what I mean?
I guess.
That's why I can't dock it a point for it. Personal opinion. What are you gonna give it?
I'm gonna give it a 9 myself.
Okay.
Like it's pretty damn good. It's a pretty good movie, and like it's almost all there. If it went a little bit creepier, I would have loved it more.
That's fair.
So overall, this movie gets a 9.5, and we go on.
It's up there towards our upper echelon of films rated on this channel.
That is extremely true.
All right, so scary stories, I guess.
Yeah, unless you have one more thing you want to talk about.
Nope.
All right.
I'm gonna hit you with my question.
Okay, hit me.
Is other than Us, which arguably could be lower than this, is this the best horror film we've seen this year and potentially on this show that we went to theaters for?
So, I will both say yes and no. Because Yes, because it is extremely well written in comparison to other horror films, and it does very good for what it does when it comes to tension building and like the drama and like suspense. But
And its jump scares are earned.
yeah,
When's the last time we had a scary movie with earned jump scares? Like, genuinely, there's like, I knew they were coming, but they were earned. Like, I genuinely was like, okay.
I get you.
Yes.
Yeah. Like when I watched this movie, I sat down and I was like, this was good. Like at first I was very much not interested. I was like zoning out. I was like, all right, we're here for another bad horror movie. Okay. And then the first accident happened with Tommy, which it's not a spoiler, it's in the trailer. I found that out later. Which, if I had known that, that's something I would have ranted about. So, but yes.
Yeah, but it's the first 20 minutes. Chill.
Yeah, I get you. But still, like, that first little bit there freaking got me hooked. I was like, oh, I see what you're doing here. And from that point on, like, when all the moments were supposed to get creepy, they got creepy when, like, it was... I like this movie. However, at the same time, it could have been more. It could have done more. Especially because this movie was rated PG-13. You could tell it was holding back.
The reason why it had to be rated PG-13 though is because the title is for
Kids.
not kids, but like I don't want to say children's stories, but like these are stories you read with your friends to freak them the fuck out. I debated digging through my closet because I still have my Scary Stories and More Scary Stories books in there.
What about even more scary stories? So,
but like, there's so many things to love. The creations of seeing some of these stories, like these creatures from these stories, come to life, was fucking awesome. And one of my favorite stories is the Mitai Doti Walker. Which I'm not going to spoil how it shows up, but man, when it shows up,
that one...
Fuck yes! Like...
Which, that's also a part where I would like to talk to you about stuff as well. Like, this movie definitely has too happy of an ending, and it definitely sequel baits really hard.
Well, you've got to meet more stories and more scary stories to tell in the dark.
There are 2 sequel books. I get it. I understand.
And I feel like it earned it in a way because it did a good job telling the story in its own movie. And then what they sequel baited with was something that you didn't even really think about. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, so they're going to see if this is possible. Which is kind of like, that's how you sequel bait. We've talked about this in other films. Don't just like, your film shouldn't be about the sequel. It's about your story in it. And then you plant the seeds for the sequel. And that's what this did.
I'd say
so
it did
I can't
pretty
argue
okay.
with that.
It's just, like, I thought it was a little heavy-handed because right at the very end, it was like, okay,
I mean,
there's
I'm not
more
argue
story
it's
to
not
tell.
heavy-handed. I'm not going to argue that it's heavy-handed.
I mean,
it's heavy-handed. But if it's going to be heavy-handed, I'm fine with it being heavy-handed like that rather than, you know, fucking heavy-handed like just Batman v Superman. You know what I mean? Which is still a movie we haven't rated, but we've talked about so much.
Don't make us. We'll have to watch that movie.
It's happening at some point. You know this.
I know it is. Don't worry.
You made me watch Sharknado. I'm making us watch that.
We could watch so many more worse movies.
Oh, I know. Agreed. But that one still pisses me off. But no, like, back to it. Like, scary. This film has some seriously, genuinely scary moments. That, like, shit, man. They've earned it.
There was, like, I've heard arguments about this movie only because people, like, at least film critics of the horror genre, thought that the villain was too omnipotent, I guess is the word. Like, it was too universal threat. Like, which I can explain a little bit more in spoilers because it just makes sense, but...
Are you talking about, like, universe-ending style threats, or
not universe-ending style, but like it's a universal threat, as in it's impossible to escape it, no matter what you do. You just can't get
but
out.
like, how many? I'll say this: there are some major horror tropes that I feel like are refreshed in this film and done well. And I feel like that's kind of one of them. Like in the sense that like we've seen it in other films. We've seen some of these horror tropes, like the thing being put somewhere else and left there, but then reappearing where the protagonist goes. But like, you don't feel like they're cliche in this film, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah. Well, what I'm more getting to in this one is, like, to be very specific, is teleportation. Like, there are scares set up, particularly jump scares, that are used that can only be done if the villain can teleport. And this one, in 3 out of the 4 stories, well, 3 out of the 5 stories, I guess technically, could teleport, which makes it impossible to run away from. Which to some people, not me, because I still enjoyed this movie and the tension and stuff, but to other people, they found that lowered the tension to them because they knew that it was impossible for them to escape.
Yeah, and like some of them I wouldn't consider teleportation. Like book 3, well, technically there's 6 stories.
Yeah, we'd have to go over it in spoilers, but we could break down which ones have teleportations and which ones don't.
3 of them do. Like 3 of them have teleportation, but I will say, story 4, one involving Red.
Okay.
I don't even know if I would consider that teleportation, more as like matter like.
It's not necessarily teleportation, but it's still the same thought. The same, like, it was.
I agree. I have some points on that could have avoided the whole scenario, but we'll get there. But like, also, can I just say, it's so well shot in those scenes too. Even when things are teleporting around, it's still shot fucking fantastically to just build that tension. There's like story 2. There's one point where like there's one moment where 3 different things could have happened to be the jump scare, and it's literally the last fucking possible moment it could be, which is perfect because other films would have just jumped on the first 2 moments. But this waited till like the 4th possible beat to do what it was gonna do.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And it could have done the same thing earlier, but instead it just continued to build that tension in misdirection kind of ways. Like, it's going to be here. No, it's going to be here. No, it's going to be here. Oh, it's here kind of thing.
I get that a lot with the second one, like the second story, but I could also. Oh, yeah. I see what you're getting at. I see what you mean.
Because like it could have stepped off of a thing. It could have been on top of the thing. It could have been over there kind of thing. But really, it was there kind of thing. Like, and it could have been there from the get-go, but they built up to it being there.
It wasn't like Chucky, where it's like, oh, Chucky's standing there, and now he's not, and now he's really close. Ha ha!
Yeah. It built to these things, which is just it's awesome. And can I just say the practical looks to the villains, like that is that like sugar from Guillermo del Toro that just makes these things look scarily real.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. The last one, the last villain, I don't think looked the
Doti Walker?
Yeah, the Mitai Doti Walker. Yeah.
Mitai Doti Walker. Sorry.
He was the
I
one.
will say it was practical, but they had to use some CGI to do some of the stuff that it does. Which I understand using it for that sense. At the same time, it was still pretty fucking cool, in my opinion. And if it was gonna use CGI in any of them, I think that's the perfect one to use it on.
Okay.
Because the rest of the things you see, besides maybe one of the stories, is all practical. One other story isn't practical, but like trying to do that one practically would be absolutely horror for whoever's involved.
I mean, there's no, yeah, like, yeah.
Good luck.
So I mean, even this isn't even a spoiler. Like when I was saying how I want to do like the horror in real life thing, the first moment I would have noped out in this movie was when they opened the secret door and they just plowed right through the spider webs. Like, oh fuck these spider webs, I don't give a damn. I would have opened the secret door and been like, nope, closing the secret door.
See,
not
I
walking
would
through
have
those
stopped
webs.
before the secret door.
No, I've been in abandoned houses before. It was like in Kingman. There was that one.
Same. There's an entire like neighborhood out towards the, like an entire like, story in Kingman. There's a lot of times where people in that area tried to build a big like housing area because and then the 2008 housing market crash happened, and so there's a lot of abandoned like housing districts out there that were never finished. I mean, so.
Yeah,
hooligans went out there.
There's that, but I was more speaking of the one up Waldenpie Mountain Road that was struck by lightning and caught fire.
Why would you go there? Mind you, the one I ended up in definitely looked like it had some satanic shit happen into it because there's writing in red on the walls and stuff.
Okay. But,
so I was like, well, why did we go here, friends?
Yeah.
Let's leave.
The one I went to didn't have any of that stuff. Like, it definitely had been broken into. There was a giant American flag in the barn. Like, it was pinned up against the back wall. It was huge. But it was all torn and tattered. And there was a huge wasp nest on the stairs to go upstairs. Which, I wanted to go upstairs really badly, but the wasp nest was like, nope, I'm done.
If we walked inside and I saw the wasp nest, I would have been out, because you know me. Fuck that shit. I'm out.
Alright, but, so, back onto this then. Is there anything else we want to talk about before we dive into spoilers?
Well, sorry, I didn't even finish it, but like the practical effects you can tell are so heavily influenced by the fact that Guillermo del Toro is a producer on this. Like, his involvement is definitely is shown in this film.
Yeah.
By just like the way it's shot and the way things look. You can tell that he was very much. You could tell he was involved in the picture, which is nice. And in all honesty, for horror, the reason why I think it's the best horror film I've seen in a while is because of the practicality of it. Like, these things felt real compared to a lot of the other fucking movies we've watched. It's true chasing. I'm sorry. I can't help it.
Wasps and spiders and all that fun stuff.
I can deal with spiders.
I can't.
I can't deal with wasps.
I can deal with
and
flying
bees.
things. Well, for the most part.
Flying, stinging things? Fuck that. I'm out. Spiders, I can avoid.
Spiders.
If need be. Spiders aren't that terrifying, and honestly, house spiders are actually pretty good for your home.
I hate spiders.
Anyways. All right, Ron, shut up.
Why has it got to be spiders?
Why has it got to be spiders? But like this, it's just got such good shots too. Like, and some of the ways they misdirect you until the last second for the story to start. Like, you know how the story might take place based off of what they said before. And like, there's a lot of good Chekhov's guns in this. Like, things that are brought up are used and executed well. I can't think of anything that's not like used in some way. Even radios.
My favorite thing in this whole movie was, like, there were two setups that I really liked, which was the beginning with the dog and the woman.
Yes.
And the wax cylinder.
Yes.
Those two were really cool setups to things. And
yes.
Yes. And it's ironic that they were both related to the same character.
Yeah, no. But I guess they were two really well done. And I will say, side note, weird thing that happened while watching these two films. If you didn't see, what did the bus say on it?
I remember it caught my attention, but I forgot what it said.
It had my name on it.
Did it really?
It had Devon.
Oh.
With the 5 next to it. You wanna know what struck me as weird as soon as we watched Pan's Labyrinth?
What's that?
There's a rock with a very distinct white, like it looks like moss, but it's a 4.
So you
I'm
think he
scared to
hides numbers in his movies?
No, I'm just saying that if I see a 3 in the next film I watch,
You know
I'm
there's
done watching films.
Yeah, if you see a
there's
3,
a weird countdown happening here.
yeah, you're like, all right, the next 2 movies and I'm dead.
Just saying, because it literally said 5, Devin, and then I watched Pan's Labyrinth, and all of a sudden, a big 4 shows up, and I'm like,
See,
anyone see this shit?
see, it's that exact kind of stuff that makes me think like we're all crazy.
I've always been crazy, Steven.
Don't watch Scott Pilgrim then. Yeah, I agree with Soy. Don't watch Scott Pilgrim again.
That's different. That movie is nothing but numbers. And it starts. Well, no, it starts from 1, right? Yeah, so it starts with 1, 2, 3. So it wouldn't be counting down. So unless I watch Scott Pilgrim in reverse, which would be weird.
A little bit. Who knows? It might be a really cool movie to watch. A movie about a boy who starts cheating on his girlfriend with a high schooler, and eventually they get together, and he moves into his house away from everybody else.
Yeah.
Sounds depressing.
Yeah.
That's
but no, like to go back to it. This film is shot well. It's got a fucking awesome soundtrack, like for like ambiance in it. It's practical effects, which I love, and it's good. And the story isn't. I mean, it's got some cliche-ish things, but like,
but it's fine.
not
in
a
the
bad
context.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I honestly think it's one of the best. Like films.
It's definitely like I would say our best comparison to this would be Annabelle 3, because Annabelle 3 was a horror movie that came out this year that was also PG-13.
Yes, and it was Garbo.
Yes, and this movie was much better than Annabelle 3.
Agreed.
So, do we want to hop into spoilers?
Well, I gotta give you 10 popcorns.
I guess that's true. And with those 10 popcorns, I would definitely give this movie probably it's almost an 8, but not quite, so I'm gonna give it a 7.5. A little low, I think, but like it was good. It's in comparison to the other movies that we've seen, especially horror wise, it is up there. This is like, if 5 is my dead average, 7 is pretty darn good. And not just good, pretty darn good. So yeah, I would say watch this movie, especially with little kids, because the little kids will make this movie scary. Hearing them scream at right next to you is kind of terrifying when you're in a movie theater.
Yeah. I guess that's true.
So, Dev, now you have 10 popcorns.
Well, I'm gonna give this a solid, and I think there's only been one horror film we've watched this year that has gotten anywhere close to this. I'm giving it a 9 because I thoroughly enjoyed myself as the casual.
Okay.
So
Somewhere around an 8.5, 8-ish.
it'd be 8.5 because we round up. So because you put it 7.5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 8.5.
So yeah, 8.5 it is altogether. So let's hop into spoilers for Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So if you don't want to be spoiled, you've been warned. All right. So Dev, what do you want to talk about first? Because there's a lot that I could talk about in this movie.
Where to start is the real thing, because there's a lot to unpack in it.
Yeah. Like honestly, where I would start, the first moment that kind of caught my attention, what like I said was Tommy's scene, But the moment where what's his name? Not Augie. What's the other dude's name?
Chuck?
Chuck, yes. When Chuck ends up seeing the red woman for the first time, like he closes the door and then he opens it back up and then he's there in the room, like that was a good start. Like it was unexpected and it wasn't a jump scare, but it was chilling and it was nice.
But I will say it does build up to a jump scare that like you know what's gonna happen. But that's the jump scare that actually got me.
Really? Like when Augie
even though I knew, yeah, when Augie opens the door, I know what's happening, but like, I feel like that scene was such a good like tone setter for what was to come. Because you also weren't 100% that Augie was going to be the one to open it.
Yeah, it was a good, like you don't know which side he'll come back out on, which I could see being genuinely kind of, like the unknown. It's terrifying.
It was like but it set such a good tone. Like, holy shit! Like I didn't expect it. I didn't expect there to be such like off the bat a good tone like that. Damn.
Yeah, that
Well
definitely
played.
caught my attention there. And then followed immediately, but well, not immediately, but a couple minutes later, by how Tommy dies, like by being transformed. Like,
Dude.
yeah, the transformation was like as the straw
Holy
and shit starts
shit.
puffing out of him and he starts vomiting. I was like, God damn. Because I was expecting blood, but I wasn't expecting hay.
Well, that was impressive too. That first stab, and all of a sudden you see hay. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah. It's like
What's going on here?
I didn't know where crows were a thing. Where scares were a thing. Where scares? Are they were crows or where scares? Because they're not where scarecrows.
Because a crow would be a werecrow. But like, damn, dude, like, first 30 minutes of this film sets the tone really well, and the rest of the film follows suit really well.
So that like it starts off really good with those two things, and then we move into what was it, Augie's death,
Which, well, ambiguous, I will say. We don't quite know because at the end of the movie we'll talk about that too.
Yeah.
But this was one of my favorite stories from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which was
Really?
The Big Toe. The Big Toe was one of the ones that we read every time. It was that and Mitai Doti Walker were the two that we read all the time.
Really? Okay.
So, like, the moment that the thing said, the Big Toe, I'm like, woo! It's really gonna tell the stories!
Where's my toe?
Where is my toe? And I was like, yes. Because this is shit. Me and my friends, we would all hang out at my place. Lights were off. You grab a flashlight, and one of us would start reading one of them. This is what started like Wilton for Death.
Oh God.
Like that insanity, the voices, all of it was because reading books like this and watching shows and wanting to mimic voices. Like, so my creepy voices are what I used for like scary stories. Like, where is my toe? It's just like as soon as you hear it, I'm just like, I'm like 10-year-old Dev, hanging out with friends at my house, reading these creepy ass stories, and then being like, haha, let's try to fall asleep. Hey, let's talk for 3 hours so we don't get scared falling asleep. Some of them are genuinely creepy as fuck, like the Scarecrow one.
Yeah, that one, that transformation was awfully creepy. Then let's see, Augie's, like his, I thought was both like predictable but not.
But this is the one
and
that
it kept going. It kept building up.
did.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
it makes it better if you build up to it. Like, keep the audience guessing. Because there was, like, when Augie gets caught, he goes into his room, the door opens, and she disappears, right? So, like, he looks over to he's under the bed, and he looks over here, which they don't quite show it well enough, but the bed is against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the way it's shot doesn't quite look like it's against the wall.
Yeah. It kind of looks like
But
it's
I'm
just
okay
in the
with
middle of
that.
the room.
Yeah, but I'm okay with it, okay? I can deal with that. So he looks over to this side, he looks forward, he looks back, and you expect to see the feet then, right? But then you don't see it. You look back, you almost expect to see it in the hallway again, right?
Mm-hmm. Nothing.
So he pulls himself out, right? He pulls himself out from under the bed, and at this point, you expect it to step on his back.
Yeah, from on top of the bed.
But it doesn't. And then he flips over, and you expect him to scream and step on his stomach. But it doesn't. And then he does the thing that you're like, oh, it's on top of the bed. And he slowly starts looking up onto the bed. And then it gets you because it drags him under the bed.
And
Which is just, it's such a buildup.
Which I love how they did it too, because the way it was shot was, it was like we see Augie as he's trying to pull himself up, which is done in, like it's called an objective view set, like we're objectively viewing him, and then
POV, essentially.
Yeah, POV.
Like his POV.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, that's perspective. There's objective and perspective. Objective is being looked at. Perspective is what they are looking at. So point of view, like their point of view.
Okay.
Yeah. So like.
Well, yeah, I was talking about that when he was looking over the bed.
Yeah, like, and then he looks over the bed, and you could see it in his point of view, and then like you see him start to pull away. And then he gets pulled under, and then instantly we're swept back into his point of view, and we see this face pop up in front of us, like it's slide face, and then we see Augie's reaction, and it's good. It's terrifying.
He flips over, starts clawing his way out, and all of a sudden you just see his claw marks, his nails dig, and just dragged into the wall, into the ether, into the nothing, gone. Damn, like it was such a buildup.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the last horror film that we watched other than like ones that we watched that were old, like Aliens?
I'm not gonna answer this hypothetical question.
Well, I'm just saying, out of ones that we've watched in theater that we went to go see, maybe Halloween, and I mean, maybe I crap on Halloween more than I probably should. I just don't enjoy I'm not a huge slasher fan. I like thrillers. And Us are the only two that I feel like have this kind of ability of tension that we've seen in recent horror. Because, I mean, look at The Nun, look at Curse of La Llorona, Annabelle 3, Chucky, what is it, the Exorcist, or the Possession of Emily Rose, what it was called? Fuck, that one was bad. We've watched some bad horror films.
I mean, at least none of them were as bad as Curse of La Llorona.
Curse of Emily was, I think, up there.
But it wasn't as bad as Curse of La Llorona. And
I was pissed off at it, I think, more than I was Curse. But there are certain things that Curse just pisses you off exponentially in one moment. Wow, I think the Possession pisses you off throughout, but maybe not as severely pissed off, I think. So it's a different kind of getting pissed off a film. This one, like, it makes you scared.
Okay.
It genuinely tries to bring fear to the theater.
Yeah, but this is also where some people would argue that it's not scary, because it's one of those moments where we start to find out, like, other than the Scarecrow teleporting to wherever Tommy is in the field, we also get this guy that teleports underneath the bed and pulls Augie down under, and like that's all
scary.
Because it's the knowledge that it's impossible to hide from it that makes it less scary. Like,
I feel like, let's be honest, in real life, though, I feel like that makes it scarier.
Well, maybe yes, but this is not people thinking this is their life on the line. This is people wanting to connect with this person and the uncertainty of what's going to happen to them, not the certainty that they're going to die.
I can accept that. I still feel like it still works really well. And I still really enjoy it.
I get you.
Because it's
all perspective in this instance. Like,
And I still really enjoy it.
yeah, so there you go. As long as you enjoy it, that's fine. Sorry, I'm trying to get my cat. Come back over here. Come here, kitty. Yeah, there we go. So,
Stop using animals as ways to get views.
hey, these aren't even my animals.
You make me sick.
So, but then we move on, and then we get another one, which this one is honestly a bit weird, but really cool. Like, this one is once again one of those stories where it's impossible to escape this threat. I mean, in this instance that we find ourselves in, it was impossible to escape the threat. But it was still really fun to watch because it ended in such a non-violent way that was still tense. Like, it didn't feel completely satisfying, but it was like, it was good. It ended in a point that I enjoyed.
How did you feel about what came out, though?
Like, what do you mean?
Are you talking about story 3?
Yeah, when he's hugged to death.
You're missing a story.
Oh, yes, sorry. 4. Sorry. Story 3, what came out was awful. How they established it was really cool. Like,
So, inside the mansion, the girl, Chuck's sister, accidentally gets bit by a spider, she thinks. She's right. So she gets a little bite on her cheek. And it gets worse throughout the scenes she's in. It gets progressively kind of like more noticeable.
it's weird because, like, sure, the first scene it's just a little bite. And then the next time you see her, it's a little bit bigger. Then the third time we see her, it's like this mole on her face. And then as the story's being written, it's just exponentially getting larger every time we look at her.
Yes. But damn, did they execute it well.
Like, especially...
Like, even though I knew what was coming because it's in the trailer, holy shit, that's still terrifying.
It wasn't even the first time I've seen that in movies. They've done that before in a bunch of different horror movies. Well, at least one that I can remember of, which was like Wives' Tale, I think is what it was called, where it was all the old wives' tales that people would tell each other, like Bloody Mary and all that stuff. All in one movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it was called. I can't remember exactly. And it had one of those moments where spiders came out of the woman's face. But this one I felt did it better, especially when it came to the part where she, like, grabbed it and started pulling, and then the leg started to move.
The spiders don't bug me. It's when things crawl in your skin.
Yeah.
Oh God. That's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
I'm trying to show a happy kitten on screen.
Oh, Jesus. But like, damn, was that just one of those moments where you cringe up? If you don't cringe up, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, that was genuinely creepy.
Especially for those arachnophobes of us.
Mm-hmm. Like, the only part that I thought was kind of weird is that it ends suddenly, her story, and then we don't hear much else about it. Until the very, very... I mean, it's referenced that she goes into... she goes into an insane asylum right away because what happened to her was traumatizing. But after that, it's like, nothing really. Like, even the fact that she goes into the insane asylum, I think, is a little odd. Because last thing we see is that she's alive, and then suddenly we're talking about, my sister's gone, man! Yeah, she's in an insane asylum.
Well, gone in the sense of, like, her story's done.
Done. Yeah, I understood that, but still, it wasn't worded properly in the movie.
Because you can understand, he feels he's next.
Yes,
he's not wrong.
Which is weird.
Chuck is 100% right.
The only one who, like... After they realized that the stories were writing, they all could tell when they were next, which was weird to me. Like, Augie didn't know what was going to happen, Tommy didn't know what was going to happen, but at that point they realized things were going to happen, and then Chuck said, I've had dreams about this fat woman in a red room, and then that happens, and then Ramon's like, oh man, I while we're locked in this jail cell, I think I'm in trouble next. And then the cop confirms, yep, it's Ramon. That's that. So.
Well, based off of the story that it was being told at that moment, too, he knew it. He knew the story. Because his is my favorite.
Of course.
But we'll get there, because Chuck's... I can't remember what story Chuck's is, because it's the white woman, the pale woman. Is it the pale woman is what's called?
Mm-hmm, I looked
Does it go like that?
I think so. Like, I even looked up the story online, and it had an image of her almost exactly like that. And... it was kind of creepy. Especially because it...
Oh, yeah, that is fairly... Oh, my God. They recreated that so well.
Yeah, they did. Like, at first I was like, where did they get the character design for that? And then I saw where they designed it from, and I was like, oh, God. No wonder it will look that way. And it looked creepy. The pale woman, this big fat woman who you inevitably can't escape from, like always. But it's not like one of those, like, oh, they're teleporting everywhere. It's just that they're not teleporting everywhere. It is everywhere. And it's slowly closing in on you. Not even rapidly.
Can I say, this kid needs to play some football.
Just tackle through it?
Juke. A simple juke.
No, I get you, though. I was thinking the same thing. Like, when is he just going to duck underneath it? Like, what's going on?
Or go to the side. Like, sprint at it and juke. I mean... That's your only shot at that point. Like, I don't care what you say. That's the only option you got as a Jew. Like, you're even though there's a good chance it's still going to catch you because it's some omnipotent being. Yes. Mm-hmm. A juke is still a shot instead of just standing there panicking. Like, Jew, would I still probably panic in the situation? Potentially.
Yes, probably. Like, when I think of this, what they could have done is literally added in your juke, and like he could have juked down, but then as soon as he got back up, he just sees another one right in front of him, and then he turns around and he just sees the mob of them all behind him, still closing in. And that would have been just as terrifying.
Both worked, I will say.
Yeah. Which... I liked how this ended because it was slow. It was very intense. Like, it's almost like watching Dev in Resident Evil 4 with Mr. X. Like, it's pretty good. But can you get juke until you get old and die? Yes. Yes, you can juke until you get old and die. Because at some point you're just going to die. Doesn't matter if you juke or you don't juke. I did throw a burn at you.
I'd like to see you try playing that.
Did you watch the last 3 or 4 episodes of Resident Evil? I fast forwarded a lot.
I don't care. you try playing that game.
You should play it sometime too.
I'm sorry, my PC's been dead.
I'm talking about when you're playing it. Actually play instead of just standing there.
I want to see you try playing the games I'm playing, motherfucker. You piss your pants in 2 seconds.
One of these days, maybe. I have a job now that actually pays me properly. I might actually be able to play games now.
I'm sorry, I'm bitter at you right
now.
No,
it's okay.
Oh.
It was a pretty harsh burn, I'd say.
Story 3.
4?
Or sorry, story 5.
5.
Is as soon as it starts, you start to. If you know the story, you know what's coming as soon as the story starts. Because as soon as the book reads, it reads, Itai Doti Walker. And as soon as it happened, me sitting here leaning back in the seat, it's not like leaning back seats, but like I'm kind of sitting there. I kind of went, oh. Well, it's the one. It's the one I hoped they would have added.
So, can you tell me why he's called the Mitai Doti Walker? Like,
no
where
idea
did that
why.
name came from?
No idea. But the story of the Mitai Doti Walker in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, okay? I don't know the origin of the name. I just know the story from Scary Stories, okay? Is that this boy was took a bet to stay in a scary abandoned house overnight with his dog to win a lot of money. Remember correctly. So as he's there, He's hanging out by the fireplace where he's gonna fall asleep. Middle of the night, all of a sudden he hears from the distance, like super far away. Hold on. Or like and then his dog starts saying Itai Doti.
Oh, even the dog? Oh, that's creepy.
The dog, which is why I loved this, because the dog in this scene starts going bar, 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 bar.
Just 5 barks in a row.
Bar, bar. Itai Doti. And I'm just like, they trained the dog to get as close to saying Mitai Doti as a dog literally could.
I'm Foley work here, possibly a thing, but I'll say yes. They taught a dog how to say Mitai Doti Walker.
Mitai Doti, because I don't think it says Walker in the story. Maybe it does, but I don't remember 100%.
Okay.
It's been a really long time since I've read it, right? But eventually, it gets really loud. Mitai Doti Walker! Like it's right outside, right? And the dog says it one more time. And all of a sudden, a head rolls out the chimney. The dog and the kid sees it, and the dog just collapses dead on the spot. And the head goes, Mitai Doti. And it ends.
Okay.
This one takes it one step further as the rest of the body fucking falls down afterwards. After the cop shoots it in the head like 4 times.
So the dog answers, Lynchy, Kinchi, Kali, Mali, Dingo.
Oh, yes, that's it, Lynchy Kali. Yes.
Lynchy, Kinchi, Kali, Mali, Dingo, Dingo. So that just makes me think that these mean things. Like Dingo, Dingo is dog, probably. The thing is Mitai Do T Walker. Do. I'm the Do Walker. I don't know.
No, you're looking too far into it. It just sounds creepy.
Stories, damn it.
Ask the author, okay? You're not getting the answers in the movie, okay? Or from me. Because I just read that story a lot.
The next
fact that I wasn't really close to how that synopsis, like, was that a good synopsis of it?
Pretty much. It says that the head falls through the chimney, and then it doesn't say anything else after that, except the next morning the rich man walks in to check up on the boy and finds him lying on the floor in the haunted house. His hair turned completely white, and he was still screaming.
Okay. Pretty damn close.
Yeah.
Go me for not having read that in maybe 10 years?
I want to know the origin, damn it.
Look at it later. But
right.
Dude, as soon as it started, I was hyped. Because I was just waiting for the head to roll down the chimney because the dog was waiting in the chimney and everything. I'm like, it's it. It's the story. It's the story.
It's the story. Yeah, okay.
And then it rolls down. Mitai Doti Walker. Dude, what? Creepy as shit. Dude, the rest of the body falling down it was creepy as it reassembled itself. And I fucking loved it.
It definitely was kind of creepy. And especially when it starts like contorting itself to move and walk, like it's painful to just move. Ugh.
It was fucking awesome.
But this also leads me to a point in why I don't like the ending of this movie a little bit, because it wraps up too nicely. Where in this scene, we watch the Mitai Doti Walker kill a police officer, which officers know that he was the last one in there with 2 kids who happen to no longer be in the jail cells, and there's a dead officer. But the kid goes to war, and she does whatever the fuck she does. Scary stories to tell in the dark too better be them running from the cops.
it's more stories to tell in the dark, and no, because the plot was resolved.
Except they have to find Augie and Chuck.
Yeah, so like they split up for a second, Ramon and Stella, which we didn't really talk about this film's cast. Well casted. Like everyone felt like they would act that way in the scenario.
I'd say sure. Yeah, why not? I won't say no to that.
Which makes it feel human, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Like the cast felt human and not as like cut out cliches. For the most part. I mean, there's some cliche things that happen, but it's also the 60s.
Okay. Yeah. That's something else that I've been wanting to talk about. Why is every movie now set in the 60s? It's not every movie, but still, you get my point.
Because we're nostalgic for old. Yeah, they actually set up the twist with Ramon is he's a draft dodger from Vietnam, he's dodging the Vietnam War because his brother was just killed in it.
And it came back
they
in
set that up
pieces.
with a radio. One of the radio things is like, and this Vietnam War. Hold on, I gotta get the.
This war, man, it's killing the kids. We shouldn't be sending them out there to this. And it's just wrong.
Tricky Dick getting all his little children.
Tricky Dicky just killing all the kids in Vietnam.
Yeah, there you go. That sounds right.
Damn.
Damn.
But like it essentially sets up like little sprinkle of that. Of the war stuff. And then Ramon's a draft dodger. And not like a draft dodger in the perceived bad way. His is an understandable reason why he doesn't want to go to war. He just literally got his brother back in pieces from Nam.
And they're sending him to Nam.
Can you blame him for not wanting to go?
I mean, yes, it's his civic duty as a citizen of the Americas. Gosh.
Family's already made one sacrifice, though. Is what also, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like, you also think about it. Isn't it's a law where if you're the last remaining child, you can't be drafted in the war?
We don't know if he has any other brothers, and two, it's the 60s, and he's Hispanic, and people are racist.
I mean, true. So, okay. I don't really have much else to talk about, other than I like how the movie ended with her actually talking to Sarah, and
yeah, because there's all things about this Sarah character who's from the past who gets blamed for the death of a lot of kids, but really it's their family's greed. Her family's greed, but she's trying to talk about it because they essentially poisoned the water mill.
Mercury.
Yeah, mercury poisoning. And kids start dying, but then they blame Sarah, and Sarah's like, I didn't do it! And that's the story, and Stella's like, I'll tell your story, your real story. And she literally stabs her hand with a pen to prove that she will write it in her own blood if she has to, the story.
Mm-hmm.
So that Sarah doesn't have to be so angry anymore.
Yeah.
She can rest.
So she could stop being the monster that they said she was.
Yep. And then they go like, and now, and Ramon goes off to war like an idiot. Sorry. Just his whole plot was him not needing to, like, trying not to do that, and then he's doing it. And I'm like, bruh, stop. Please, no. This gives, if you don't come back for the movie, you've written your own death.
Yeah, he didn't finish reading the story. Maybe the story was he survives the Metis Walker and then dies at Vietnam.
Metis Walker. Goes into one of the guerrilla warfare tunnels.
Yeah, it's just through the trenches. We see this guy on all fours running at.
Not trenches. It'd be like in the tunnels.
In the tunnels and in the jungles. And, yeah.
Ugh, creepy. But like, it ends very much like, and Stella's talking, narrating at the end, being like, and now we're going to go figure out and we're going to try to figure out a way to save Augie and Chuck because there's a chance they're still alive. By the way, fuck Tommy, he's obviously dead.
Yeah, don't care about Tommy. He was an asshole. Somehow my father now knows about all of this, and he's totally fine with it. We don't need to know that story. And we're dragging along the sister because she wants to find her brother, and she's no longer crazy. That's good.
Yep. End.
Happy endings do happen.
Well, ending. Wouldn't exactly say happiest of endings, but it worked.
So, I forgot to open up my links for the news for a transition, but I'm gonna pretend that I was prepared, and you guys totally aren't seeing me mess up the stream at all. Nothing is happening. Dev isn't making weird noises for no reason at all. Here we go. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, we're fine.
Oh.
All right.
The box office. You want to guess what I get? No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, we're done talking about that. We don't need any more Endgame. All right, so let's get into the news.
Well, actually, Endgame does come out this week, so
That's true. I'm gonna go buy it from theaters, or buy it because
I'm gonna buy it Friday with that Captain Marvel and Detective Pikachu.
I already have Captain Marvel, so I might go buy Us. That's something that's out.
Yeah, I need to buy that and Get Out still. So.
So, all right. So for the news, yeah, buy movies that are coming out. Good movies deserve to be bought and not pirated. With that being said, I have two things of news for today. The first one being Disney is starting to develop a new project in Lucasfilm that's not Star Wars or Indiana Jones.
Is it a remake of something? I didn't look into this one.
Disney is set to move forward with the film adaptation of Tommy Adeyemi's best-selling fantasy novel, Children of Blood and Bone.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm fine with that. Give Lucas something else to do.
Yeah,
Lucas Arts, not George. George
Yeah.
had plenty.
This is going to be the first new property coming out of LucasArts or Lucasfilm since 2012, when Disney bought Lucasfilms.
2012, was that Tuskegee?
Oh, that's just, I don't know. They're just saying since Disney bought Lucasfilms, they haven't released anything new and original.
Well, new IPs.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a difference.
Published where he's conjured the stunning world of dark magic and danger as a young heron teams up with a rogue princess to the restore of magic to the land of Orisa, in the aftermath of her mother's death. Sounds interesting.
Red Tails. That's the one I'm thinking of. When did Red Tails come out? That was called? Wasn't that a Lucasfilm?
I have no idea.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, Red Tails was 2012.
Okay. So yeah, since 2012 then, this is the first thing that is going to be new to film IP from Lucasfilm. So, I'm interested to see this because, I mean, it's LucasArts, Lucasfilms. It's probably going to be good because they use Skywalker Ranch and Lucasfilms for sound all the time, Disney. Like, they're used all the time nowadays for Disney movies, so...
Can you blame them?
No.
It's...
So, I would love...
Ranch, bro.
Yeah, so I would love to see what happens with this, and... That's really all I have on this story. Unless you have anything else you want to talk about it. No? Okay, here we go. Alright, next story. So, this one is kind of a multi-part story, but Jason Momoa pulls out of a Wizard World appearance amid his continuing protests over a sacred mountain. So, have you heard about this protest that's going on in Hawaii?
No.
So, in Hawaii right now, I don't know the name of the mountain. It's probably in this article somewhere. But what's happening is Jason Momoa is part of this protest to stop the world's new largest telescope from being built on this sacred mountain of the Hawaiian people. Because what they're doing is they're going in and they're bulldozing the land to make it flat and good for all this stuff. But it's part of these religious ceremonies. Well, maybe not religious ceremonies, but it has religious and ceremonial meaning towards the Hawaiian people. So Jason Momoa, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and a couple of other people are all standing and protesting the building of this telescope. What's happening is the protests aren't really going well, and Jason Momoa has made jokes that he's been run over by bulldozers and stuff to try and stop them from destroying this mountain. And he apparently continues to cancel appearances at places for this protest.
I mean, it's a good reason to. It's something he truly believes in, and if you're gonna protest something and cancel appearances elsewhere, a good reason to, you know?
Absolutely. Like, I'm not saying that his protesting is a bad thing or anything.
No, I know that.
Yeah, but like, it's interesting. I would think, the 30-meter telescope is going to be a telescope that is 30 meters long, apparently. So imagine how big that is. Gigantic. So what's going to end up happening?
A little bit.
Yeah, what they're hoping for, what the people of Hawaii are hoping for, is that they stop doing the construction on this mountain and they move to their secondary plan site, which is another island. It's just not a ceremonial part of an island.
Then do it there. What the fuck?
It's a high up mountain in the middle of the ocean. No light pollution, more altitude, so less atmosphere to get through. Who knows? There's probably a number of reasons why they chose where they built. And Jason Momoa is.
Well, I'm saying, like, if they have a secondary option that apparently is close enough to the first option that it doesn't make too much of a difference, that it's on the thing.
Yeah, I guess that's true. So,
And
like,
the first option is you're gonna piss off the people who have lived on these islands for fucking centuries.
my dad compared this to World War I and II, where they installed radio towers during war fighting time for sonar communications and radar things.
I would say that's different.
I would say it's a
because
little different too, but
it's a different reasoning to it. One, yes, it's for science. Like, one is during war and during the war. Like, I know there's 2 world wars, but the World War II is like
quick
It's the
tangent
second
real
one.
fast. I saw a joke online that was like, time traveler goes back to World War I and asks, what year is it? And the soldier replies, it's the Great War and all this stuff. And the time traveler replies, World War I. And the guy replies, World War I? And then that's the end of the story.
seen it. But at that point, those were used for something else that was important, right? At the time.
I believe.
If you have a secondary spot that can still do what you're needing it to do, why build it on the sacred grounds? I'm sorry. This seems stupid.
Sorry, I just read Chasing's message here. Star Wars isn't it? I mean, yeah, it's probably really stupid. They could definitely change their locations. But like Jason Momoa himself has also said, he doesn't argue with why they're putting it up. He just doesn't like where they're putting it up. So
Yeah, exactly. I'm fine with them putting it up, but put it up somewhere else.
so, and
Especially if you have a second location already planned out in case the first one didn't work out.
right, they already have a secondary site picked.
Which isn't going to piss people off. God. Sorry.
But it probably costs more for shipping of materials and all that
It
stuff.
probably doesn't make that much of a difference.
So, I don't have any other news in that case. If you got anything, Dev, other than your computer's
Not
back?
really. My computer's back. I'm back. I'm probably not going to stream tonight. I'll probably try to stream tomorrow.
Seems like a good idea. Why not? Take advantage of what you've got. I didn't, by the way, Chasing, I did not see that Disney admitted that Star Wars isn't a hit with the younger generations.
It's not a hit with the younger generations because our generations are like, oh, it's not good enough. Sorry.
I mean, I think we're technically considered part of the younger generations.
I would say younger well,
Like, we're still only second decade citizens here, Dev. Most people would consider us young.
Oh, we're on our first decade citizenships.
Or decade is 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So I'm 25. I'm in the middle of my second decade. Maybe third, technically.
Oh, you said of citizenship.
Oh, no, not, sorry. That,
I mean, technically we're citizens of the entire time, but
yes.
being full-fledged citizens, you have to be 18.
So I'm in my third decade of life.
There, that makes more sense.
There we go.
You said of citizenship, which, I mean, technically you're right, but at the same time,
Even
the sense
though
that I was thinking of being able to do your
you're just
moral obligations as a citizen.
Yeah, you're just overthinking it, Dev. God.
Back on camera, I can flip you off and hit.
Let's get ready to
fuck you.
spoiler!
Oh, we had a chance for the button. We didn't even hit it.
I hit it eventually. Fuck it.
All right, I guess that means I'm going to show us what we're doing next month or next week. So, also really small.
Oh no!
Oh fuck.
Oh no! Ah! I forgot.
So next week is Angry Birds 2 and Dora the Explorer.
What do we have after that?
After that is I can't see. It's really small. I should just hold on. I'm gonna.
Would you rather and Ready or Not?
Okay. But more scary movies. So.
Fuck, it's goddamn August. Why are we getting all scary films?
I don't know. I was wondering that exact same thing. Why the hell are all the fucking horror movies right now in the middle of starting summer? There's a whole
ending summer.
Yeah, like there's a whole holiday season about this stuff, which people are politicizing now. So,
I'm not even gonna ask.
all right. So I guess come back next week, next Sunday, when we talk over Dora the Explorer and Angry Birds 2.
Which one's gonna be worse?
I have a feeling it's going to be Dora the Explorer.
I have money on Angry Birds.
I mean, this is the second Angry Birds, so it can't be that bad, right?
Fuck you.
Alright. I guess we're done here. Dev has a chance to be on camera, and he's choosing not to be. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us this week as we have completed another one of our Critically Casual podcasts. Join us, follow us on Twitter, join our Discord, give us a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Ring that bell, I guess. I like your hat. It's nice.
What hat?
No hat, I guess. Join us Tuesdays for Third Player Optional, hosted by Caver J, and whoever decides they want to join Caver J that week. Wednesdays for Hardcore Game Night, where we get a whole bunch of people and we play games. Last week I was the champion. The week before that it was Jay. So,
Which wasn't the week before that. It was a...
it was a month before, but whatever.
Not my fault!
So yeah, and then Thursdays we'll have the Har Har podcast with our lovely host DorkyDev here hosting it. So, did I miss anything? Was that it? Pretty sure that was all of it.
That was it.
Outros are hard, man. There's a lot to remember. All right, I thought you were gonna say smart ass comment.
Nope.
All right, so with that being said and done, thank you everybody for joining us, and we will see you guys next time on Critically Casual. Bye.
Fuck you!
Man, I wanted you to do something creepy. Damn it.